Today's the first of many, but so we'll go in a little bit of detail about version 5 and then give you kind of the overview of some of the big changes. The big components of version 5. I'm trying to kind of encompass these in new words because it's not just a new product and doing a lot of the things that we do today, and also enhancing, but it's also kind of a transition and kind of using different language and trying to escape some of the old language. So here are some of the key words that I could come up with that will be included in our marketing, but also be included in our sales pitches, and more importantly, kind of set the tone for what our goal is for V5. So, autopilot is kind of one of the biggest words that we continue to use. So it's the idea that the agent just puts it on autopilot and just lets us take care of everything. And that's, of course, the goal of what we want to achieve for our customer. Obviously, we started using this about a few months ago, but that'll make it into the new language as well. All-in-one lead generation, but it'll have a little bit more of a stronger meaning this time because it truly will be all-in-one in the sense that we'll be supporting all marketing channels in this version, so they can basically do anything, any way they want to. AI will now become a big part of the product as well. We'll talk about that and how we're going to start using that more and more over time, but in this version, what kind of role it's playing. Active nurturing is another big component that we've added into this platform. We've been beta testing, kind of playing around with it right now, but it'll just kind of get enhanced in the next version. I'll talk more about that. Accelerator, so we're changing the entire way that we think of how we onboard people. So instead of like saying, hey, here's some software, we're going to make some calls for you, call us when you have problems, we're going to, every time somebody signs up, we're going to push them into an accelerator program, which is really just a fancy way of saying we're going to set up your account and put it on autopilot. And if you deny autopilot, then it's on you kind of thing. So we're going to shift less from a reactive support to a, hey, let's just let us set it up. We're going to put it on autopilot. It's going to tell you when you need to do something. So you may not even have to log in, but if you want to log in and manual override, that's fine. But it's not something that we're going to really care about anymore. As far as like we're not going to build our product and build our services to that. We're going to build it toward just assuming that our customer just wants to put on autopilot. And I think, and overall, user experience and all these things that we've worked on are really awesome. I mean, big changes as far as how you interface with the software. So even if you do go in and log in, it's a completely different experience, a lot easier to deal with. And I think it'll be easier for us to explain to our customers when they do it. So, in summary, we do it for you, all channels, everything you can imagine, any way you can communicate to another human being, we'll be supporting. Smart data will live under the AI, and that'll be part of the pitch. We'll talk about how we score data, but then we've advanced that into more AI-based learning, specific toward how to best market to an individual. Everybody gets drip in the sense that active nurturing, we kind of think of everybody in the world that you live in as needing nurturing because everybody's a potential referral, everybody's a potential lead. It's just a matter of time. It's not if, but just when. Our entire approach now is you sign up, we're going to get you set up, we configure your account, and you just hit go. You don't really need to do anything more than that. And we're really building something that's somewhat revolutionary, not just in real estate, but in all industries. So here's some big things that you'll start hearing. So the whole architecture of the system changed, but it's still basically the same in the sense that we're not abandoning the concept of people people you don't know. It's okay to use these words in certain scenarios where people that you don't know are targets, people that you do know are your sphere. But essentially this goes away and now everything is just people. So when you interface the product, when you go into the product, everybody's in that same bucket. Just they're people, and then what we do is we divide them up using tags. So much like hashtags on Twitter, or if you want to call them labels in your head, whatever way it makes sense. But we basically label or tag every single person with one or more tags, and that's how we determine who they are. So that's a big change in the architecture, and that'll also affect kind of how you present it, how you support it, and so forth. Some of the old language that we used to use. We're no longer going to use the words marketing center and call center. We're going to be changing that to lead gen center. And that's where Austin has taken his role. And we're going to be putting more formality around that and make it a big deal. We still obviously use PA and machine learning algorithms and so forth, but we want to, that's not really doesn't make any sense to anybody because it's hard for a real estate agent to translate this into business or revenue. So we're going to be really, as you can see, the common word here in all the things is we have a lead gen platform, we have a lead gen center. So that's going to be the primary thing. Predictive analytics will live inside of here. So when we talk about predictive analytics, it's a subcategory or subtext of we have an AI-powered autopilot system where the AI does all the work for you, tells you what it needs from you if it needs anything. Otherwise, it's just generating leads and nurturing leads for you. No more smart marketing, no more, not using the word CRM. I don't want to call our platform a CRM because it's not. This stands for customer relationship management. We're way ahead of the customer relationship management. What we have is a lead gen platform. Does it operate like a CRM? Sure. Can you use it as a CRM? Absolutely. But the intent and the scope of what we're trying to do here is generate leads, not just manage customers. So as I mentioned, one people, one bucket. So sphere and targets become basically tags. So instead of it having two sections in the software, you upload spheres over here and treat them differently, then upload targets here and treat them differently. It's all in one. So all people in one big bucket, and then you can slice and dice them any way you want using our system tags, the tags that come basically with the product when you get it, or custom tags if the customer wants to come up with their own way of tagging them. And this is what enables us to do our all the above lead gen. So now when we deploy a campaign, if you deploy an email campaign or a text campaign or a voicemail campaign or even a call campaign, you just do it to the people that you want to. So we can actually, if a customer wants us to call their sphere, we can call their sphere. They would just launch a call campaign, they would choose the tag sphere, and that's who we would call for them. And this is kind of the big shift in the architecture, but also in the way of thinking. So the philosophy still exists of people you don't know, move it to the bucket of people you do know. We're not abandoning the basic philosophy of how you do lead gen. It's just that everybody's now called people. It's all in one place, and we can track it better for our customer, and it makes it easier for the customer to navigate. Instead of having two sections, they just have one place. And now you can tag customers, tag people any way you want. So we'll have specific tags already there. Most of the tagging, about 80–90% of the tagging will be done by us, right? So we're not expecting our customer to go in there and tag people. They can to enhance the experience to kind of track certain things. But ultimately, Rhea, the AI system, will be tagging people based on the data we collect from them, based on the behavior of the person. So if a user goes to our website and they register on our website, we can tag them as a lookup lead. Or if they do a survey, we can tag them as a verified lead. If we mine their data and see something on, in their profile that warrants an investor lead or a cat lover, we're starting to do some social media scraping and things like that. So we'll be starting to build profiles of every single homeowner. So we're not expecting our user to do this, but the user can. So I always say it's autopilot with manual override. So this is another example of that. It's on autopilot. We're going to tag everybody. We're going to organize everybody for them so we can be more efficient at marketing. But if they want to go in there and tag somebody a cat lover because that's how they think, they can do so. The way that we package the product is still a little bit, it's a little bit gray right now. We're going to have more finalized, by August. But essentially, the lead gen platform will be sellable by itself. So they don't necessarily have to have smart data or license a territory now. So they can buy just our lead gen platform, upload their own database, and we could start farming or sphere marketing or whatever it is that they're uploading. And then, I shouldn't use this word here, but it's the C word. But this is essentially the platform plus the smart data and the territory. So that's kind of your classic, what we sell today, this bucket here. And of course, the goal is if somebody were to kind of start off with the base platform, do some sphere marketing, do some of their own farming, they could always upgrade to our smart data. And then the kind of the overarching thing here is the autopilot setting, and we just haven't figured out exactly how we're going to productize it, market it, or brand it. But essentially, there's going to be 3 tiers. And the reason why this 3rd tier is necessary is because if they do set it to autopilot, there is going to have to be some sort of understanding of budget, because the minute they say put it on autopilot, they're going to have to determine, okay, well, how much budget am I giving you for direct mail, for call center, for email, for voicemail, for text, for letters, for reports. So this is going to be based a lot, the pricing is going to be based a lot on how much data they're uploading and how much data we have. So for example, real estate agent 1 uploads 10,000 sphere contacts and says he wants us to call them all. Now obviously that's a different price point than agent 2 who has no sphere contacts and just wants us to call their territory of 1,000 smart data leads. So some of the services have a cost, right? Direct mail, letters, reports, call center are the biggest cost. So they're going to have to kind of, just like if you go on Google and buy advertising, you say just spend, I only want to pay $5 a click, I don't want to pay $10 a click. We're going to have to set up the same kind of things here. So that's why we're still trying to, in our minds, try to productize it. But you can kind of get the idea that essentially when people buy something, they're either going to buy the platform and upload their own data, so BYOD, right? And then here they're going to say, you know what, I don't have any good data. I need to farm. I need smart farming data. I need that algorithm that you guys have. They'll upgrade and buy a territory 1 or 2. They can always do services on demand. So they can say, you know what, send 100 reports, send 100 letters, make 500 phone calls, right? That's the spirit of what we sell today. But then eventually they might say, you know what, I want to put this whole thing on autopilot. We're going to estimate their budget, their monthly budget, and that's what we're going to charge them. So we're going to say, this is what you should spend. If you want to really truly nurture and go actively after that sphere and farm, you're going to have to spend $1,800 a month. And they're going to go, well, that's way too much. And you're going to say, okay, bring it down to 1,000. And you're going to say, okay, well, that means you're only going to direct mail 20% of your farm and 30% of your sphere. And we're going to work through that. So that's still TBD, but so what I mean by manual and automated, so autopilot is basically saying, hey, we're going to leverage all these marketing channels, we're going to identify who we're going to go after, and we're going to optimize it, and we're going to go to town. Manual would be more like, hey, please send a direct mail to everybody who's tagged sphere, or please send a voicemail to everybody who's tagged new lead, or whatever it is. So they can go in there and launch campaigns one-offs if they want to, in 3 clicks. It's really simple. But when they set it up to autopilot, what we're really saying is, we're just going to go ahead and assume that when a new lead comes in, we're going to send them an email. When a new lookup lead comes in, we're going to send them a direct mail. When a verified lead in, we're going to send them 5 direct mails over the next 5 weeks. And then we're going to send them a property report, and then we're going to call them. So we have these programs where we would just start executing. And that's what's kind of a big shift. Being this services architecture is kind of this on-demand services architecture is going to be interesting in how we package it and price it. But I think that's what they want, and that's what's necessary to do. And not every agent is equal. So, So the other thing that is big shift in our platform is we support send one, send many for all channels. So in the current platform, we don't. We kind of shy away from doing that. In this platform, we're just kind of putting the onus on the agent on what they want to do. We will do the right channel at the right time for the right type of contact, but they have the choice to send one or send many. So everything essentially is a campaign. So if I send an email to Andre saying it was nice to meet you, you would launch it just like a campaign. It would just specifically go to Andre and it would be tracked such. But I could also send, hey, it was nice meeting you to everybody in this room as a campaign. If I tag everybody in this room, offers team, and I say send that email to the offers team. So just like email, you could send it to a group or send it to multiple people or send it to one person. So it works very much like an email client for all these different campaigns. So it's a 3-step process. You choose your weapon, right? What do you want to do? Choose your target, who you want to send it to, and that's based on tags, and then you pull the trigger. You can basically launch any campaign you want in under a minute, and especially if you use our templates, it's even quicker. So it's shock and awe farming, which is kind of a ironic thing. Plant that fucking seed. So ready, set, go onboarding is kind of the new way we think as well. So the autopilot process is our default onboarding process. So we go in saying, all right, let's get you set up on autopilot. That's how it's going to be. If they go, well, I can't do autopilot, I'll just do the, and they kind of back off, or they kind of, they choose what weapon they want us to use. So be it. A lot of those weapons that we talked about will come with your baseline Offers Plus product. So things like email and text messaging and some limited voicemail will come with the product. So, but it'll be limited. So if they need to do 10,000 voicemails or 1,000 direct mails or 50 property reports, there'll be additional cost to that. But essentially, when somebody buys a territory or a license, we set up autopilot for them. So there's just one screen that we go through and configure their account. So all the things you can imagine, like set up their picture, logo, all that good stuff, so that we can actually do the automated marketing. And then we just activate autopilot within the budget with what they want to do. So if the budget is small, they might say, look, I can't afford to do direct mail. I can't afford to do at a high level in the funnel, but I don't mind doing direct mail to verified leads. So we put in some budget for that, and so forth. So there's some configuration that has to happen here, but eventually, when it's all said and done, they activate, they hit go, and so anything that comes in that's tagged a certain way automatically gets the marketing. And as you can imagine, the higher up the funnel, the more cheap marketing we do, right? Things like email, texting, or voicemails, or the lower cost per impression, and then online marketing, call center marketing, like what we do. And then the deeper in the funnel, we get more creative with reports and direct mail and hitting them with our brand harder. And then, of course, all the different things that we can do from an autopilot. Now, before we were just doing this. Now we can do this. We can help them nurture their sphere, look for referrals, look for money in the people they know. We can continue to smart farm, lead gen, and then now we've started experimenting, but now we can also do lead nurture. So if they want us to call a person and say something, we can do that for them. Just like any campaign, whether it's just like an email or a letter, we could also do it a phone call. So it's expansion of all that. So the first beginnings of Rhea will be coming out of this product. It won't be the mobile version that Andre's team is working on, but it'll be kind of the precursor and warm up to that. So a lot of what we talked about, the autopilot component, is all being powered by Rhea. So she's deciding what to send, when to send it, and how it all works. She's also going to do most of the talking, so we don't expect agents to really start the conversation. They're shy folk, so we're going to say to the agent, hey, you should do this. And most of the times they'll just say, do you want me to do this for you, yes or no? It'll be permission-based conversation, but occasionally it'll be something very active like this where Rhea is doing the handoff. And the most exciting thing about it is, which I've been working on with Steven, is collecting the data from the campaigns that we're working, having some effectiveness score to it, and then having that machine learning tie into what's the best marketing, what's working out there for specific tags. So that's what's one of the great things about the tag architecture, is it kind of fuels a lot of really cool AI stuff. Not only because it's human language, right? It's like send an email to everybody that loves cats, right? So, but it's also powerful because now we've compartmentalized people. We've said, okay, this person's a cat lover in my sphere and has a 3-bedroom home, and you can actually take that logic and start to figure out what's the best mode of marketing that will reach that person, engage that person, and get them deeper in the funnel. So Rhea will live within the platform. She'll be conversing with the clients quite a bit, and then eventually when we start getting into more robust platforms and the mobile side, it'll even be more engaging. So other stuff that we've worked on, and so we not only, we didn't just focus on reinventing, and trying to build a better product, but we also kind of looked at, all the lists of things that customers didn't like or had trouble with. So, and I think we've addressed 95% of them. A lot of them are a non-issue now because it's a completely new UX and new experience. But things like this, need better routing. Can I chop up a territory? Where do I start? Small little things. We didn't ignore those. We solved a lot of those. We have, it's all new property data. We've done full MLS integration, a completely new way of doing lead routing, which is configurable and easy to set up and easy to manage. Even the customer can potentially do it. We have things like sub-territories now where they could chop up a territory and only share that data with a user instead of the entire territory. Enhanced reporting, super easy config, in my opinion, as far as getting all this thing up and running. More transparency into invoicing and billing, so if they want to invoice or whatever, they can print it out there on the product. So just stuff like that, just pretty straightforward upgrades. And so where we are right now is our goal is to kind of be in beta by the 1st, so that everything I've just kind of talked about for the most part is functional and ready to test and put users on. We still haven't figured out the upgrade plan, but essentially, we'll keep version 4 alive, so people can still log into version 4 and do their thing. But unfortunately, there will be some things in V5 that, if you move to V5 and you're doing some stuff, it won't translate. It won't be available back into V4. But if people are comfortable or doing something in V4 or want to access something during the transition, we'll allow for that. But it is a pretty much a new way of a new product. So we will be bringing over obviously all the data from V4. So when they upgrade to V5, they'll have all their notes and all that stuff in there and configuration and all that. But if they upgrade to V5, do some stuff and try to go back to V4, that won't be smooth. And then we just have to figure out what our plan is to get people off of V4 into V5. We'll have a button on the software that says go to V5. That'll be an obvious one, but then eventually we'll have to have a point where they all have to go to V5. That will move away from V4. I'm not sure when that will be. It depends a lot on how negative the feedback is from the users, as far as if there's issues, data missing, things like that, when we got to keep it alive for a little bit longer. But it should be pretty simple. They should be able to kind of go, oh, V5's not, if they go on V5 and they're just not there yet and they're not comfortable or whatever, they get confused, they can live on V4 until they get trained on V5. And so obviously we'll have numerous training events to get people more excited and live on V5. Yeah, and then so support team will have a little bit extra work there. We have to figure out what's the best way to group our customers and get them pushed over to V5. Obviously, we're going to try to do a lot of training embedded inside of the V5 platform. We'll have videos. We'll have some transitional stuff for people moving from V4 to V5, much like this presentation kind of went over. But if they need hand-holding or they need to get on a webinar or something, we'll probably do a lot of V5 webinars that talk about the shift. I don't know exactly when all those will be, but that's where we are. So essentially, I just wanted to kind of take today to get some feedback, some questions. This is a very high-level overview. This is not meant to be like the end-all, be-all. We'll probably do one of these probably every week until we go live to kind of get you updated on what's some new stuff, get more details, and then probably next week we'll start actually looking at the product. So I'll take you through the product more in detail.
Will their billing show what they paid for like the base license versus like the a la carte services?
Yeah. So essentially, what we're moving toward in the licensing side is, so essentially you'll have a user, and then we have an itemized thing. So they'll have the price for their lead gen platform. They'll have a price per territory, right? If they have one or more, and then for each service, they'll have a price. So email, text, voicemail. So this will basically be what a license is, right? It'll be, okay, you have a license to use the platform for up to 5 users. You have a license for this territory, this territory, this territory. You have 50 emails a month, 50 reports a month, 500 voicemails a month. So essentially, this will be what's called a package, basically, if you think about it. And, we're not going to, it'll be configurable in the back end, but we're going to package this nice and neat for how we sell it. So we'll have probably like a basic package, which is, the LGP, and then plus some baseline, what we think the average person needs as far as quantity of use.
We're going to allocate more dollars though,
Yeah, right, then they could do that, right? So what I haven't figured this out yet, but I bust my head, it'd be all over. I haven't figured exactly how this out, but one of the things one of the reasons why we moved Ryan back on the CX side is because I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a lot of upselling. So it's kind of be like, hey, the sales guy sold me this, but we can't have the sales guy worrying about, well, how many voicemails do you think about sending? Because they're not going to know, right? So eventually what's going to happen is we're going to get into CX and they're going to, okay, we're configuring your account. Okay, well, geez, you have a lot of people in your sphere. This package you have is only allowing for 500 voicemails. I can get you 1,500 for $10 more. You want to get, so they might go from like $450 to like $580. So I think a lot of this will be happening more on the CX side. But, it could happen on the front end too. We just have to figure out how to keep things simple and then how do we evolve. But essentially, that's the architecture of the pricing. So they might be paying $99 a month or $199 a month for the platform based on number of users, $400 for a territory, and then we might throw in free email, free text, $50 voicemail, $50 property reports based on the territory, right? It's like, well, we're going to generate this many leads, so you probably need about this many reports. And if they wake up one day and say, I want to direct mail all my smart data leads, like, okay, well, that could be an on-demand thing. You don't have a direct mail budget, but if you just click I approve, we'll just hit your account one time for $80 for that direct mail. So it'll be, we don't want to have them keep charging their card for ad hoc services, so we'll give them some baseline, but eventually that's basically how it's going to work. Is I want to do this, oh, it's not in your account, do you want me to go ahead and hit your card for $50? Yeah, hit me. Yeah.
So we're charging them per user?
We're going to move to a user's model. It's not going to necessarily...
Not per user, but like there'll be like up to 10 people, you can have up to 10 people for this price, up to 20 people for this price. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be, it'll be still liberal, but we have to kind of cramp it down because essentially when they add a user, that user is getting free access to our LGP, which is a very powerful platform. So, we could have somebody add 10,000 users, and be like, oh, fuck, still figuring out where the, there'll probably be something like 5 users or less and, 50 users and less, and then enterprise or something. But that's another way that we'll be able to scale our pricing because, somebody who has 10 agents on our system or 50 agents on our system, they're basically getting 50 licenses to LGP, right? So we got to figure that out. We got to figure out how to price it.
What type of MLS integration are you foreseeing happening? Also, like with the customization along with MLS with the property reports, so they could customize property reports. Is that something that
Yeah.
we're walking through initially?
So the property reports, right, so the whole home value campaign is adjusting, right? So the property reports as well as the home value site that we have, completely new. The property reports, we are moving away from the existing format. And so now the property reports essentially, so the first page is a bunch of content that we give them, but they can customize. It's got like a girl quote, then it has the value, the price, and then it has some other stuff, why the price matters, and has their header and all that. So they can adjust the price, they can adjust this text, all that good stuff. And then the second page, we have comps, so we have recent listings in their area that match this property. So if it's a $300,000 single family home, and we bring out more accurate comps. That's coming out of the MLS, as well as the property database.
We are integrating with the agent's data feed from the MLS. We have our own.
Yeah.
But there's some aspects that they can customize in the
Everything they can basically customize everything except for the way it looks right now. I mean, we don't have, not yet, like in version 5.0, we won't have like choose property report ABC7, like I like my logo this way or whatever, but it'll be, they can customize the text. It won't be hard for us to do that, create multiple design templates, and that'll be down the road, but they can basically say, I don't like my quote here, I don't like what it says here, I want to change this. They can change the title. I mean, so it's like, it's all like they could just go in there and it's real simple. Yeah, and it's way better, I mean, and I think they can customize this too. They can, like, we'll give them a number because we have our own home value algorithm. So we basically say, I think this is worth 435,000. The agent can say, you know what, I don't want to show them that number. So the agent might change that to 400 to 450. So they can type whatever they want in there. We'll give them our home value, which is based on a new algorithm that we're developing. So it's kind of like a Zestimate, but they can change it, if they. I mean, so if the agent's like, I don't want to send this to them because I don't want them to think it's that expensive, or whatever logic they use. Yeah.
With the phone, kind of send one, send many, they're doing kind of custom phone, I guess, surveys for everything they're saying. Is that, can they create their own script essentially?
Yeah.
Is that what they're about?
Yeah, they can say, call this person and say this. But it'll be, the end result will be, it's a survey at the end of the day. It could be a single question survey, like, would you like to have coffee? Hey, I'm calling on behalf of so-and-so. But yeah, so we'll have to segment out our call center to, which we've already kind of done, which we have kind of what I call common campaigns, like the one we do, like the home value campaign, and then for the lead, for the appointment setting, and for custom scripts, it's a separate list that we give to somebody who's a little bit stronger on being able to dynamically change them away. But we'll order it in a way where when they get their call list, they'll call, if I have to call 100 people for Baldacito and just say Merry Christmas, it'll go through those 100 before, you know what I'm saying? So they're not going back and forth like, oh, now I'm calling for Baldacito. Okay, now I'm calling for, so we'll try to make it easy on them. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel like anybody's going to really do that right off bat. I think people will be nervous. It's super kind of, oh wow, okay, well that's shit. I can have somebody literally call this person right now. But you know what? I think where people will do it is in the verified leads and the lookup leads. They'll tag all the verified leads and say, call all these people and tell them that you're calling on behalf of Bob Jones and I want to have coffee with him. So I think that'll happen a lot. And so we'll do that. Yeah. So it'll be kind of a nightmare on the back end for a little bit, but we'll figure it out. See what happens. Yeah, it'll be like a.
Have someone like kind of help them, especially if people aren't using it really. Like have people like the sales team maybe push it or the CX like explain what that is because it's a super powerful tool. It just takes some hand holding, I think.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be a video there. They'll walk them through the whole thing. Like, hey, you want us to call your entire sphere? We can do that for you. You want us to call Jim Smith, who just clicked, just fill out a form on your website? We'll do that for you. So it's kind of this. It's all on demand. That's what I mean by on demand. It's like on demand. You have basically an agent has an on demand email center, text messaging, voicemail, letters, reports, online advertising, call center, just like whenever they need it, for whatever they need, one to many. I want you to email this one person. I want you to text these 1,000 people. I want to voicemail these 3,000 people, and I want you to call these 40 people. And that's basically the architecture of Rhea, because basically that's what she is. She's the assistant, and you're just telling the assistant to do it. And the assistant comes back and says, "I'll do it for you, but it's going to cost us $50, $100, $200, whatever it is."
So for these agents right now, if they go in and they customize their profile with their logo and all the stuff that the accelerator is going to help them do, for version 4, is that just going to automatically transfer to V5, or are they going to have to redo all that?
No, most of the profile all the profile in V4 will transfer over, but there will still be gaps. So we'll have to, Rhea will tell them that they need to fill those gaps. So, you know, like for example, logo, image, you know, some of the footers like email signature, letter signature, all that will port over, but they will be missing some things that are necessary. Like if they don't have a Nexmo number for mass voicemail, or sorry, mass text, if they don't have a, we added some other things like a text signature, because the text message comes from not their normal number, so we want to make sure people put their name in there. Shit like that, you know. But it's not too much. It's not crazy. So they should be 70% functional, like on day one, but they probably still need to be rebooted a little bit, which we'll try to do through the platform, but you know they might require more hand-holding. The lead routing, if you were to kind of itemize the things that scare me the most, it's going to be the three things they're going to freak out about is kind of just getting their mind around how do I download or get access to a list, because we don't have target lists anymore. So now they have to think of tags, right? So oh no, just go and search a tag and there it is. So they might be like, well, how do I create you know, one of the things that I'm struggling with, and I haven't figured out yet, but like if they say, I want to only email, or I only want to text people with, you know, they want to create a search criteria. I haven't figured out that yet, but basically saying, I only want to do homes 250 to 500 that are investor owned, da 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 da. So some of those variables may not be tags, like for example, the house value. So that's something I still haven't figured out yet, but I'll figure that one out. But other than that, it's lead routing, it's list creation, and are the big ones that scare me right now. So we just gotta, it'll just be brute force. We'll just have to get through it.
What was the lead routing scares you?
Because it's brand new, it's completely new, and I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to transport the logic over as clean as I'd like to, but I don't know yet. Meaning that for some of our more complex customers that have lead routing happening, you know, we're gonna have to just sit down and like, oh, okay, let's set up Bob Lucido now. And it's just going to have to be like, we're going to have to get everybody at the table that's been involved in that project and be like, okay, how's it supposed to work? And then, you know, we might, you know, we'll set it up. It'll be easy to set up, but my concern is that they'll freak out about it. You know, they'll go, and remember, once that customer goes live on V5, everybody goes live on V5, and that customer's, you know,
Yeah. No, okay.
so, and then and then just the general idea of like them logging in and it being completely different. So, which there'll be a little bit of like shock, but once they kind of see how easy it is, then I think there'll be a little bit of sigh of relief. So we just have to make sure that first impression will be like, hey, we've simplified everything and made it super easy for you to do the things you want to do.
So how are you handling that with those larger accounts? Are you going to actually be in front of them when it happens, or are you going to surprise them?
No, I will be slowly but surely sending out information to them soon, and we'll be inviting all clients to some webinars, probably right before I leave for San Francisco, as a pre-launch beta to introduce it, and then and I'll work with Molly on just sending out an email to all of our big clients saying, hey, we're you know, we solve a lot of problems you probably have issues with, and let's. If you want to set up a time, we can go through it. Here's a video, you can watch it, share it with your team. So we'll have a whole V5 communication, you know, this is me talking to you guys is kind of helps me frame it all. So I'll use a lot of the components that we have here, and it'll all ultimately come together into one demonstration. But it helps to hear kind of, you know, we're going through kind of the beta communication right now, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. What gets people thinking or what gets people scared, kind of thing.
So how would you sum up sort of a new sales pitch, or when people say, what do you guys do? What does that look like now? How does it compare to the old verbiage?
Yeah, so I still feel like predicting the future has a lot of buzz and a lot of the differentiator between what we do and what other people do. So I don't want to, we're not going to necessarily abandon the core principle of the pitch, which is, you know, our company, we have the ability to predict future listings. Therefore, we can, you know, get you first in the door to win those listings. But now, and I'm not sure the pitch, you know, some of the sales guys have probably been selling this already, but even though we don't do a lot of it. But a lot of the pitch will hover around these two words. This is the core right here. You know, we've created an all-in-one lead generation solution that you can put on autopilot. That's it. You know, you don't have to do shit. That would be another way to say it. And they go, well, what do you mean all-in-one lead generation solution, lead gen? Well, we provide you the farm. We score the farm using our proprietary algorithm that predicts future listings. You can upload your sphere. You put all those people in one big bucket. And you can email them, text them, voicemail them, send them letters, send them property reports, online marketing, and whatever else the fuck I forgot. And then that is what we call all-in-one lead gen. And then they go, okay, well, tell me more about autopilot. We have a AI-driven assistant. You tell her, Rhea, to take care of everything, and we have all the information we need to go out and start. You tell us the budget you want to spend, and we'll go out and nurture your sphere, market to the smart data, do lead follow-up, call them if you need us to call them, voicemail them if whatever we determine. You just click the button, turn it on, and we just do it. So that's it. I mean, that's the pitch. Again, not abandoning the core value, nor do I want to escape the fact that smart data and predictive analytics is one of our biggest sizzle points. So we don't want to bury that, but what we want to explain to them is that, you know, we use AI to drive smart data to predict the future. We have all the tools through an entire, you know, all-in-one lead gen platform, and then we have a Rhea who will just do everything for you. And then ask your permission if we need it. Otherwise, we just do it, right? So if you say, every time I get a verified lead, send them a prop report. All right, you know, we won't even ask your permission anymore, you know, or we'll just tell you we did it, right? So it's kind of like an assistant, right? Well, what else? Any other questions? Cool, awesome. So this is step one, and then next week we'll go over more details, show a little bit of the product, kind of walk you through each one of these things. But at least now you have if somebody were to ask you about what V5 is and what are the core things that are changing, now you have a little baseline idea of like the architecture, but also a little bit of the value proposition, and and then of course when you start seeing the UX and kind of experiencing it, you'll start to see a lot of the things that you guys are probably facing in support that are issues. You'll see that'll go away pretty quickly. You know, they'll go, oh, no, that's not going to be an issue anymore. Okay, oh, that's not going to be an issue anymore. So there's a ton of stuff that I think we cleaned off the table. It's not. We still are trying to. Simple yet powerful is kind of the motto. So, you know, it's hard to make something very, 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 very simple and without taking away a lot of the power of it. So version 5 isn't the end-all be-all of power and simplicity. It's still very much software, right? But we have tried to simplify it to where they can do anything they want to do from a manual override perspective, and say, I want to do this campaign, or I want to search for this person, or I want to, you know, view this lead or download this list. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's as simple as we could come up with. So there's definitely dramatic, but it's still software. You know, they still have to log in, they still have to understand it, they still have to know where things are, they have to get used to the navigation, but that shouldn't take that long. So it'll be a lot easier than our new software. We separate the world into two basic pieces, right? People and campaigns, and that's pretty much it. It's like, here's all the people in the world, and here are all the ways that you can communicate with them. That's what the basic architecture of a lead generation platform. And this person is at this stage, and this person's at this stage, so we're going to talk to them a little bit differently. And the reason why we know, and how we track all this, and how we map all this is through this tag-based system. So you tag somebody cat lover, that might trigger a campaign with a picture of a cat sending them a direct mail the next day, right? So that's the way it works. It's just like set it and forget it, or if you have a specific need that goes beyond what Rhea would know, like, you know what, I want to voicemail all my hot leads right now because I just got some news about some property, blah, 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 they can do so. And that's the other thing too, I didn't mention in this PowerPoint, but we're trying to have a bigger picture here too. So we're ultimately going to try to create a platform that they're going to want to bring in other leads from other sources into our platform and put it into autopilot. great example is like they could take all their buyer leads from Zillow, tag them Zillow buyer leads, and set up an autopilot to where we call them or do whatever whatever they want. So that'll be part of the demo at Inman and other things. Is not just looking at, oh, here's offers leads that we're generating for you, but here's the Sphere leads that you uploaded that we're generating for you, and here's the third-party leads that you generated for you. And so it's really, that'll take a little bit of pressure off of us long-term in the sense of they're identifying with us as just one lead source, and if the lead sucks, we suck. It'll allow us to kind of have a broader view and a broader application for them. So they could take all their existing leads that they know are kind of either dying on a vine or they're just not doing a good job following up, upload them, tag them, launch a campaign, tell Ray to do it, and they're off and running. Cool. Any other questions? Oh, yeah.
Is the admin system gonna change that much?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I don't know when, but yeah, all the admin will be going over to the new system, including the sales CRM. So the salespeople will be using this system. The new tagging system, the new CRM.
okay,
Our salespeople will move toward using that.
okay,
Yeah. So we'll be eating our own dog food real time kind of thing.
okay.
What's a way that we're gonna be able to measure, because I guess success to the agent is getting money, getting listings, selling
Yeah.
homes from this.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have a way to, aside from relying on them telling us that they got a listing, to track the success? So say they're bringing all their Zillow leads in, and they're closing a lot of deals on that, that's a great selling point, a great point for us to make.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna know that unless they tell us.
Yeah, so, I mean, we do obviously have a tag that tells us if they want a deal or something like that, and there'll be more value in them doing it. So in our system today, there's no real carrot for them to do that. But I think in this system, the way that we've designed it, there'll be a carrot. They'll want to put the wins in here because they'll want to see statistics correctly, and they'll want to see the reporting and the visuals that we have lead to that.
They can tag it one.
Yeah, like this is a one deal. So I won this deal, whether, and that way I think there'll be a little bit of that because they'll want to see it because, they'll be like, what, I don't need, I had listings. They could go search for it and add it, So I don't know how much of that will fall into 5.0. I mean, the tag will, but I don't know how much, like, for example, we could do things like, we could look at the MLS database, print it out for them in a section, and they can claim it if we can't match their email or name to the data we have. So there'll be some auto stuff we can probably do there. It's not going to make 5.0, but it's going to probably be in a version right after it, where we're going to do like listing management. Because part of 5.0 I want to focus on is the autopilot all-in-one, but then 5.1 we might start bringing in things like competitive analysis, like, okay, here in your territory, here are the 5 recent listings in your territory, so they can understand, did you win any of these? If not, and here are the ones we identified in our call campaign, here are the ones you direct, so more analytics around lost deals. But that's kind of 5.1 stuff. I think that we have it, it's there, just not sure exactly where and how to present it.
The buy-side representation is not reported by the MLS in most circumstances. So
Yeah, they would have to claim that. Yeah,
so Zillow leads are buyer leads primarily.
yeah,
So to track their
yeah.
performance
But
on the buy side.
we do have names and emails of the people who got the listings and the sold properties. So we could, in theory, if they put their same email that we use, in the MLS, which is most likely because it's their lead gen email, then we could probably do a quick query and say, okay, how many listings did you get? But yeah, that's going to require a little bit more testing and stuff like that. But lead, one of the goals with the product and one of the goals with Rhea, kind of always communicating to the customer, is to gather that kind of information and provoke it, make it easy for them to input it. Whereas today it would be like a chore, or they wouldn't even know how to do it. Put a note in or something. We could provoke that with Rhea. Like, hey, I just noticed 555 Cherry Lane got listed, and it looks like you were, it looks like you were the listing agent. Is this you, Betty Davis? Because there might be 2 Betty Davises, but I was like, oh, that's not me or whatever. We could do stuff like that. It's data collection basically. All we're doing is collecting data, right, from the agent. Cool. So yeah, and we've already kind of started doing some testing. So we're kind of testing. We kind of have a waterfall approach where I'm still developing a lot of it, but we're kind of following with the testing, some basic unit testing, and then eventually, probably next week, I'll start putting in the hands of some of you here that you can actually do more what I call integrated testing. Right now it's unit testing, it's like my kid, so they don't really know what it does. They're just clicking buttons and see if it breaks. But then integrated testing would be like, all right, let's do a use case. Like, let's set up a campaign, launch a campaign, test it, see if, you know. So that stuff I'll leave to some of you guys. So what I'll call alpha testing will start next week, and then hopefully we'll get through a bulk of the product. By the 25th, it should be pretty solid. 25th, yeah. And then we'll start doing data integration and moving all the legacy data over and doing some unit testing there, customer testing, set up some customers, see if the experience is the same the week of the 25th. And then when do I leave for San Francisco?
You leave on the 5th.
Okay, yeah, so that's like 10 days or whatever, 11 days. So 10 days, yeah, 10 days of data. Cool. All right, guys, thanks. That's it.